This is the Cover 3. My name is Sterling Bennett. Alongside me is Dre from Dre Area Sports and Aaron from 49ers First Takes. We are live from the Gulag this week as we anticipate Niners-Eagles wild card round matchup. The NFL playoffs are here. It's exciting. It's also equally as terrifying as to what could await San Francisco this Sunday. But as we leave behind Week 18 and the loss against the Seahawks, we enter a time where the playoff records, the season records, they are down to 0. No wins, no losses, 4 games to immortality. Can San Francisco get it done? It starts this Sunday in Philadelphia at the Link. So Dre, Aaron, how you guys feeling entering wild card weekend of the 2026 NFL playoffs?
I feel really good. I feel really confident. I feel the Niners can actually win this game. I know a lot of fans are like, oh, it's over. They're never going to get out of there alive. I see it the opposite way. I feel like this is a favorable matchup for San Francisco. When you look at the overall rankings of the Philadelphia Eagles, there's a lot to be desired. And I think that this game, I feel like, could be similar to what we saw when it was Niners-Bears, where you're going to score a lot of points. I mean, the Philadelphia offense has been atrocious. The past couple weeks, they've done well, but they've gone against really bad teams. And you can look at that as like, well, these are just kind of tune-up games for them. But not really, though. Not really. And Niners offense, yes, it ran into a buzzsaw that was Seattle Seahawks, but I don't see them doing that 2 weeks in a row. I really don't. Aaron?
Sorry. I really don't have any expectations for this game. I'm teetering on negativity, but I'm trying to be positive. Man, the loss to Seattle last week really kind of reaffirmed some things in my mind that I was trying to like not think a certain way about. And it's weird because like the Eagles have been so bad offensively. And Jalen Hurts, even though he was like Super Bowl MVP last year, and he's taken such a tumble, but at the same time, like I feel like the Niners defense kind of cancels that out with just how poorly they play. So I think it is going to be up to the offense to try to keep pace, because I don't think the defense is going to do a good enough job. I don't see it. The pressure of this game is going to be on Kyle, his play calling and the offensive line to at least make this a competitive ball game. Because I think if it is a competitive ball game, I think the Niners have a shot at winning. But they got to do something about offensively. They have to be able to move the ball and score points, because I think the defense last week kind of showed you what they really are. And yeah, they kept it close last week.
They only give up 13 points.
Yeah, but if you watch the game in its entirety, if you look at the points and then you look at how they moved the ball last week, essentially at will, to me, this is an offensive game. This is going to be on the Niners offense. Like as it would have been if we beat Seattle. We would have known. We said this from the beginning. Like if the Niners are going to win a Super Bowl this year, it's going to be their offense. So that hasn't changed, in my opinion.
Well, let's start there. The offense, right? They're taking on Philadelphia, Vic Fangio-style defense, Vic Fangio-led defense, and Philadelphia also has all 22 of their starting players on offense and defense fully healthy. They are the exact opposite of the San Francisco 49ers, and we can get into the pressure put on Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan's shoulders. We do know now that Trent Williams is questionable for Sunday. We also know Ricky Pearsall, who hasn't practiced all week, is also questionable. I think that's more of a let's not tip our hat kind of designation, but Dre seems like he wants to get into Ricky Pearsall. It's probably a good place because we know that if Pearsall was healthy against Seattle, there is a way to cope with saying the game would have gone differently. At least the offense would have put up more than 3 points, right? And you're playing Philadelphia this Sunday where running a similar style defense, you don't have, if he doesn't play, that man coverage beater, a separator, or someone that can at least extend the defense, win over the top at times, and sit in those soft zones and win, right? And if you don't have him out there, your odds of winning decrease by a lot. But Aaron has been on this for months, it feels like now, of just being out on Ricky Pearsall, the player, knowing the injury history there. Dre, though, you seem like you have your thoughts about that too.
Well, I just think that when it comes to Ricky Pearsall, man, like, dude, this guy's got to get out there. They need him badly, and if he doesn't play, then you lose that speed threat. You lose that man beater ability, and then who do you put out there to replace him? It's probably going to be again Juwan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne. And I'm sorry, I love those two guys, but that's not enough to get it done. And then what? You're going to have Jordan Watkins or Jacob Cowing, who haven't even barely seen the field. And so it's just like you got DeMarcus Robinson. He's going to end up being your number 3 receiver, but they badly need Pearsall on offense. I mean, Trent Williams, Ricky Pearsall, these guys got to go. Not go like get out of here, but they got to start. Like they got to get out there. Like it's going to make a huge difference if those two are playing as opposed to them not playing.
Well, before Aaron dives in here, I'll ask you guys this first. Who do you think has a bigger impact than Aaron can give his spiel on Pearsall? I'm sure he has plenty to say about him. Is Trent Williams, like, what is the percentages you would give if Trent plays compared to, let's say, no Trent and just Pearsall plays this Sunday? I think if Trent plays, San Francisco has a 45 to 40% chance to win, a fighting chance, if you will. And if Trent doesn't play and Pearsall does, 20, 15%. Like, I think Trent is so much more important to what San Francisco needs to do and has to do if they want to get the win on Sunday.
Yeah, no,
Aaron?
Trent Williams is more important to, in my opinion, than Ricky Pearsall. But Aaron, go ahead.
Yeah. Trent, having Trent in there is like so much more important because I mean Brock got beat to shreds last week, and I mean the offensive line played atrocious. I think Trent, when he's in there, while he wouldn't have stopped the onslaught of the Seattle Seahawks pass rush or defense, I think it just would have been a different game. There's a reason why Seattle is as good as they are, and you need your best offensive lineman in a game like that. They didn't have them, and the line looked completely lost and overmatched the whole game. And I think a lot of the performance from everybody was really based on the offensive line and Purdy not having any time. It was constant. The pressure was constant.
Yeah.
I honestly, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm trying to be compassionate. I've been so down on Pearsall just because he never plays, right? And when he does play, he doesn't finish. And when he does play, he misses games right after. I don't really see what difference he would have made last week just because of how bad the offensive line played. That's my biggest thing. Here's my problem. Fred played through a fractured leg the year prior. There's a lot of players that are playing through a lot of stuff. And Trent, I understood missing the game. I mean, he's been healthy all year. Hamstring is like rough, right? Especially for a guy that has to plant and has a gigantic body like he does and has to torque and move and do all that stuff. But like the thing with Pearsall that really got me is like everybody's hurt now this time of year. To me, are you injured or are you hurt? Because if you're injured, you don't play. If you're hurt and you've got nagging injuries like everybody else, your ass needs to be on the field. I don't get it, man. I overheard Larry on a stream say something about like the feeling in the building when they found out he wasn't going to be active last week. There was like really? Like a disappointment. So I don't know, man. I don't know if he's being easy on himself. I don't know what he's telling Kyle for him to be missing such important games. I don't know. Does he have a competitive spirit? Like, what is it? Like, I don't know. I don't have the answer. I'm not in his brain. And this whole thing where we got to keep talking about last year and what happened last year was a tragedy. But that was last year. That has no impact on this year. None. What he's been this year is he's been an enigma. We don't know. We don't know in 2 years what he really is. We know he can catch the ball and he doesn't drop the ball. And he's a pretty good route runner, but he's always hurt. And like, are you comfortable going into next season with him being your number one wide receiver? I know that wasn't the expectation, Sterling. You said it on a previous stream, like that was never. But if Ayuk's gone and Brandon, what's his name, Debo's gone from last year, like he would be essentially your number one receiver. Do you have confidence in him going into next year? I don't. So that's where I sit on. That's where I sit on him.
Yeah, I think there was a stat that flashed on the screen when last Saturday's game against the Seahawks, where it showed how many games Pearsall has missed, how many he's played. And he's missed 20 total games of a potential 34. So he's missed 20 games. He's played in 14 games. Now, if you remove the 6 games he missed because he was shot, he's played in 14 games, and he's missed 14 games. That's really just kind of flip-flopping one on, one off, and that's not going to cut it in the NFL, obviously. I would like to lean more towards the player here just because I believe in Ricky and think he can be a great player in San Francisco. When healthy, he's shown to be a big, impactful player. But yes, the injury is a massive concern. I also wonder that when he got hurt in week 3, tried to play through it in week 4 against Jacksonville, and he re-injured it, and that knocked him out for about a month and a half, right? With pretty much same time as Purdy, right? I do wonder if it never healed properly or it never healed completely. And he's tried to come back and play through it each time. You know, he feels 85%, he feels 75%. And then one false move, one fall, one tackle. It's like, oh crap. You go back to when he initially got hurt. He openly said, it felt like there was no stability in my knee. And you mentioned, Aaron, you mentioned, you know, Trent and having to cut and plant. Those exact same things apply to Pearsall as a wide receiver. If you can't cut and plant and run routes, knowing his skill set being the route runner of the offense, then you shouldn't be out there. Yeah. And I think, you know, you like to believe that Ricky, knowing what he's gone through, being shot last year, the injury this year, and he's battled it for what seems like the last 18 weeks or so, I get to play my first playoff game and probably be a pretty big factor in it, knowing Trent's going to play as well. You'd like to think he'd be pushing to play, and maybe he just can't. And it sucks and it stinks. I hope things can change from, you know, Friday to Sunday, and maybe things do miraculously flip in his favor. But I think you're right, Aaron. And I think San Francisco agrees with, like, we can't walk in the next year losing Brandon Ayuk, probably losing Jawan Jennings too, not having Bourne under contract, and walking in the next year with Pearsall and Demarcus Robinson being the 1 and 2. They got to find somebody else. Yeah. And I think it's okay with, you know, believing in Pearsall being the 2 or 3, having him being that slot receiver for you. He can be great there, but there's a reason why guys like that are built the same way as him, Tyler Lockett, weren't number 1 wide receivers. They're smaller guys. They're going to get banged up, and the odds are you're probably not going to play 17 games a season. But can you give me 16? Can you give me 14? And he hasn't done that through 2 years. And so, you know, I think Pearsall would make an impact on Sunday, but the way things are trending, it'll be Kendrick Bourne. It'll be Demarcus Robinson. It'll be a bunch of guys that can't separate. And that goes more into the feeling of, like, we're never going to truly realize how great this team could be because no one's healthy. They're never healthy. Yeah. And, you know, if, ands, and buts, whatever. But I do want to transition to the defense because the defense equally has injuries. And the 2 big spots they do is linebacker. The 5 guys they carried into week 1 at linebacker, none of them might play this Sunday. When you hear that, Dre, what do you think of that?
I mean, look, we know Bethune is out for the year. Yeah, torn groin. That's terrible. But the fact that they got Kaiser White, the fact that they got Eric Kendricks, and when it comes to Winters, if the guy's hurt, then he shouldn't be out there. Because you got to have healthy bodies out there that can, you know, run the length of the field and, you know, sideline to sideline.
Make a tackle for once.
Make a tackle. And if he's too worried about, you know, the injury that he's trying to fight through, then I think that Kaiser White and Eric Kendricks should get the start or get the majority of the snaps because these guys are healthier. They're more experienced. And they've been there before. And so for them, the situation or, you know, the game isn't going to be too big for them. Winters, it might be, but he's also fighting through a bad ankle injury that's probably going to slow him down. So for me, it's almost an upgrade to have Kaiser White and Eric Kendricks out there because now you're going from 2 young guys with no experience to 2 guys that are, you know, that are older than those guys, but they have a ton more experience. And so that's what I'm more excited about to see. Now, Kaiser White, I believe, is not very good in pass coverage. So, you know, defending receivers and tight ends might be kind of tricky for him. But he's he's a hard-hitting, you know, in-your-face kind of linebacker who's going to make the tackle against the run. And I think that kind of tells you the game plan for San Francisco because I really feel like You stuff the box. You don't let Saquon Barkley run the football. You put as much pressure on Saquon to kind of contain him, while at the same time, you got to contain Hurts in the pocket as best you can. Make him have to throw the football, yes, but don't let him get out of the pocket and run for first downs, which he likes to do. So I think that's why they got Kaiser White, because they want a guy who's going to hunt down the running back and make that tackle. I mean, how many missed tackles they have last week? It was ridiculous. 18.
Yes, and I think it was 15 of those 18 came from levels 2 and 3 in their defense, and a big reason for that was Bethune, Winters, Jair Brown, and Mustafa. So a lot of missed tackles. I think, not to interrupt you, Aaron, but that a big reason we've seen the Niners defense struggle, amongst all the reasons they aren't good, pass rush, coverage, and whatnot, they just can't tackle. They are atrocious at tackling. And if they can find some semblance of fundamentals, they can actually win a football game against Philadelphia, I think. But Aaron, to give us some more information here on Trent Williams, he has spoken to the media today, and he has said he'll be a game-time decision this Sunday, but, quote-unquote, feels confident he will play. So when Trent says he'll play, I'm sure he'll play. But back to linebackers, Aaron, when you hear that, no Fred, no Tatum Bethune, probably no D. Winters, no Nick Martin, maybe no Lou Gifford as well. And it's a whole brand new core of linebackers playing in the middle of this San Francisco 49ers defense. Is that cause for concern? Or are you like Dre and even myself? The linebackers have been pretty piss poor for over a month. Yeah. Is this an improvement with the veteran players they have now in place?
I have no idea because I've never really watched any of those guys play. So I'm completely in the dark. Yeah, linebacker, it's funny that the secondary has been the only unit this year that's been healthy. And and I'm going to come back to the linebackers, but despite all that, Spy's no pass rush. Despite, no, they can't get after the quarterback, whatever. I just thought Upton Stout last week was the shining light in a very, very dark game.
Yes.
And we have some pieces on defense that I'm watching this year, going into next year, that the Niners have some players. So it gives me a little bit of something to feel good about. I mean, linebacker-wise, just atrocious, man. Like, it's so bad. All the missed tackles. Man, what does Saleh do, man? Like, it's like you can coach these guys up. You can show them film. You can critique them. You can help them physically, do things different when approaching a tackle, work on it. But that's all stuff you do in the offseason, right? And in training camp, like, man, the thing with the defense, the guys, is it's gotten worse towards the end of the year. They got worse, not better, not the same. And I mean, I just don't have a ton of confidence because I know Hurts has been pretty dog water at certain points of this year, but the Niners defense doesn't really stop anything from anybody. So I feel like that is neutralized. As bad as Hurts is, the Niners defense, at least the front seven, is equally as atrocious. And as bad as those guys try to cover in the secondary and they do their best and they're all healthy, you can only cover for so long. If guys aren't going to make tackles up front, if guys aren't going to get pressure, if guys are going to stop the run, like there's only so much you can do. I'm going to repeat this. I know we're talking about defense. The only way they win the game Sunday is offensively. This has to be a shootout. It's going to be like that the rest of the way. It sucks. And I just don't have any confidence in the defense, man. I don't. And I tried for a while. So I don't know.
One of the areas that I'm a little worried about and this goes back to tackling, and I think we will see an improvement from Eric Kendricks, Kazir White, and even Garrett Walla, who I think if you go back and watch the tape, I think it showed that those guys can play better. And I think whether it's the injury stuff with Winters and Bethune or just them being young players still, what is this, Bethune's second year as a 7th round pick and it's Winters' 3rd year? I think, Dre said stack the box and whatever, and all that's true. Like, you have to stop Saquon. One area, though, I think that has been kind of not overlooked because it was a big reason why they lost that game against Seattle. It was 3rd and 17, right? You can't make a tackle on Kenneth Walker, like, really. But if you go back and watch that game against the Colts, The exact same thing happened 3 times. 3rd and 12, 3rd and 14, and 3rd and 16. They all became first downs for the Indianapolis Colts. The Bears game eludes me right now, but 3rd and long to me is a place where if you have better tackling linebackers, you can go out the field.
Yep.
And this team has been able to put opposing offenses in 3rd and longs a lot. They just can't get out the field on 3rd down. So I'm hoping that for Philadelphia, who I think is the worst 3rd down offense in football this year, which is shocking to say, and you get some improvement in your linebacking core when it comes to tackling. If you can get off the field on 3rd downs and get your offense the football more, there's nobody I trust, well, besides McVay and Stafford, to score on an opposing defense than Purdy and Shanahan right now. You have Chris McCaffrey. He's healthy. George Kittle's still healthy, and I think he'll play better in this game. So it's like, it's shocking to say, but the defense, while yes, needs help from the offense to score some points and stay on the field, have long drives, this defense has an opportunity to actually shock the world on Sunday against what has been a mediocre Philadelphia Eagles offense.
I mean, look, here's my thing. When we talk about getting guys like Kaiser White and Eric Kendricks and all this shit, like, that's great. And I love they went out and made that move for Kaiser White, but this is a move they should have made weeks ago. Yeah. The fact that they went with guys like Curtis Robinson, Eric Wallow, and Luke Gifford, it's like, dude, look, the moment that you saw these injuries starting to pop up at linebacker, why wouldn't you go out and grab these guys that were free agents that are veteran players like Kaiser White, who's been there since he got cut by the Titans? But no, you wait until the week before your first playoff game. And so that's what bugs me, is that even throughout this season, the Niners seems like they're trying to find ways to still save money. When in reality, they could have made a move early on. They could have brought these guys in much earlier and had them as part of the rotation to back up Winters and Bethune, so that maybe Bethune didn't have to be forced out there so early and get hurt again. I mean, the guy tore his groin. The guy basically hurt himself 3 times in one game, then had to leave the game, poor guy. But still, look, he's out there playing hurt when you had options that were out there on other teams' practice squads or free agency that you could have brought some guys in. And again, when I see John Lynch, oh God, this thing's so loud. Sorry, my phone's ringing. When I see John Lynch watch that play and we go, God damn it, did we all feel the same way? Yeah, of course we did. But I was pissed because I was like, you know what, dude? You had a fucking chance to go out and get somebody. I'm not saying Trey Hendrickson. I know that didn't work out. But they had a chance to go out and get somebody for the defense. They didn't have to be a pass rusher. Could have been a run stopper. Could have been just another able body that's a quality player. And you didn't do that because why? Because you probably didn't think this team was going to be in the position they were in last week, where they could have gotten number 1 seed, had home field advantage all the way to the playoffs and the Super Bowl. You didn't think that. And so it's like, hey, you know what? We'll take our lumps and let's just hang on to our draft picks and move on. Imagine if they could have made a move to get somebody in here, even a Jalen Phillips, just somebody else to help bolster this defensive line, because
to tell them that you believe in them.
Look,
that you...
Like Keon White, he's been great. Is he a defensive end? Probably not. Bryce Huff, he's more of a 3rd down pass rushing edge rusher, but he's in there every down. I would love to see them give him less snaps, because I feel like he gets worn down as the game goes on, and then towards the end of the game, he's basically irrelevant because he's already gassed by the time the game is over, because he's out there every single down. And I bet if you look at the numbers, he has more snaps than he's ever had in his whole career in one season, because he's out there every down. So that part does frustrate me, because I'm like, look, I love that you guys did this, but you should have done it a while ago. When they had to throw Wallow out there, I was like, what are we doing right now? Like, this is who we chose? Curtis Robinson was a healthy inactive, because they were like, well, we love you on special teams. However, we tried jet linebacker and we didn't like what we saw. So go ahead and ride the bench, because that's how important you are to either special teams or this defense. And they went with Wallow. It's just like, dude, they had to have done a better job on staying on top of this. I'm glad they did the move finally, but it seems like it's way too late to make this kind of move when you could have had these guys in much earlier in the season.
I don't think Bebop likes me very much.
Take your hat off, Aaron. That was his last comment.
That's okay. I can have my opinion on my team. I've been a fan almost 40 years. That doesn't fucking matter to me. None of it fucking matters. I can say what I want, when I want about them, and that's okay.
I don't care who
We're
the
getting
fuck is out
feisty, Aaron,
there.
tonight.
I don't care who's out there in the field. I just want the Niners to fucking win. I don't care if they're doing it with a bunch of weird dudes or whatever. I just want to see the Niners win football games. And so to me, it's like I want them to do everything they possibly can to make this team as good as it possibly can because I want to see them compete. And do I think they could beat the Eagles this Sunday? Yes, I do. I really, really do. Because you know what? I'm sorry. This Eagles team is way overrated. And they have not been good this year. And I mean, what? A few weeks ago, everyone was talking about how the Eagles were crashing down to earth, and that they were like, oh, man, this team is all out of whack. They fired their offensive coordinator. Everyone was saying, all these Eagle fans were like, they got to fire Sirianni. They got to fire or get rid of Jalen Hurts. And then they win a few games. They're like, oh, yeah. This Sunday, they're going to steamroll San Francisco. I'm sorry. The Eagles are not the Seahawks. Yes, they're both birds and they're mascots, but they're not the Seahawks. They do not have top 5 rating in almost every defensive category like the Seahawks do. And it's going to be a very, very different game than what we saw last week against Seattle. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be a different game.
It's kind of crazy to listen to both you guys talk about the Niners and tell me they have a chance, but then in the same way, just like crap all over them.
Well, I'm just frustrated
like,
by the lack of like, hey, why are we leaning on all these special teamers at the linebacking position? Why are we getting guys that?
I think it's important to point out that you're not going to find a starting linebacker on the market to trade for, 1, and 2, backups are all special teamers. So it's like any free agent you sign in, because you may not even play on Sunday. We'll see. Like, there's a reason why Eric Kendricks is a free agent. He's better than Curtis Robinson, but you'll take a chance on a guy who's 27, 28, who's been in your system for the last 3 or 4 years,
but still
over a guy that hasn't played in it at all. Like, I think there is a way to justify every move they have and haven't made this year, and maybe that's just me, kind of having a different approach to this year and whatnot. I think you guys are right from the perspective of I don't think they thought they'd be in contention for the number 1 seed. I don't think so.
Not.
I don't think they thought the offense and Brock Purdy would take new heights in the last 6 weeks of the season, right? And I think that may have changed our perspective, but you could talk about adding somebody to this defense. Not a single player they added to this defense is making a difference. Like,
not at this
Jalen
point.
Phillips, Jermaine Johnson, Kayvon Thibodeau.
They would have done something.
No one. But they like, what are they doing?
To me, it's the message. It's the message that they sent, which is why I'm so confused this year about how I'm supposed to feel about the 49ers. If I feel that they've already accomplished more than they were supposed to this year, and that we're living in this world of participation trophies where we're better than we're supposed to be, so we're supposed to be happy about that. When I thought Super Bowls was like the goal of a franchise.
It
not
is a goal.
Being better than we were supposed to be.
Is it the realistic goal of this team? Probably not. But
I think
I'm
you're
misconstruing.
You're misconstruing a preseason goal and an end season goal. And I'm not saying they don't want to win, but like their preseason goal, knowing they're fully healthy, is like, okay, we're going to retool and we're going to, cut some money and take a big dead cap hit and, kind of cut the fat off the roster, get some young guys in here. Then all of a sudden the entire roster gets banged up with injuries. And now you're sitting here wildcard weekend saying like, we hope Pearsall plays. If we don't, we're screwed. We don't have 5 linebackers in half our defensive line.
But I feel like I've been consistently the same person. I said it in preseason. This team is probably a one and done in the playoffs. I said that.
We'll see about that
during the early part of the season, regardless of, they were winning games and stuff. That's what I said. So I'm being consistent. I'm not waffling, what they call waffling. What's the word? Like,
sure.
I'm not changing my opinion. Like, I have stuck to the same thought of like, and I even said to you in the preseason and leading up to the season, I told you, Sterling, man, we're so thin in this roster.
Yeah.
And you said we have to look at this as if the Niners can't get hurt. They can't get hurt this year. And it happened. I mean, what are we expecting? I mean, we've been the most hurt team for like a decade other than 2023. So like we said that. And then in my mind, I'm
EMP.
like, it's the EMP. So like I've stood in the same place. I didn't think this team's roster was good enough to compete with the big boys this year. And,
Okay.
And so like, injuries, I thought it was.
So if we, that's all. So if they lose,
if we had Bosa, Michael Williams, and Fred Warner, just those three.
Yes, that would make a huge
totally
difference.
Different games.
Absolutely.
Like,
okay.
Because you have two guys at two levels that are probably the best at their position. Well, not Bosa. Bosa's like top.
He's top 5.
He's top 5. But I mean, Fred Warner's best linebacker, just in general in the National Football League. And yeah, Mike Hell. I have my opinions on Mike Hell because I have a hard time accepting you're drafting a non-pass rusher in the top 12.
Don't look at the box score.
He's a scheme fit.
That's not why they drafted him. That's not why they drafted him, and you know that. It's to be Eric Armstead. You know that, and you know how big of a role he played in this team going to many playoff games. That's not why they picked him. It wasn't a scheme fit problem.
Year too, so.
Yeah,
they need to bring him back.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. But I just think like if Aaron, you're saying you've been consistent all year, which you pretty much have, about I believe this team is one and done. Okay, well then you may get exactly what you predicted in the offseason. And I think knowing they're not healthy, knowing they have a lot of issues defensively, knowing they're on their 6th linebacker this year, and they don't have their number 1, number 2 wide receivers, their Hall of Fame left tackles banged up. Like, how do you not feel at least of like, wow, I can't believe they did this. I can't believe they overcame everything this year and had a way to win the number 1 seed. They failed, yes, obviously, but like we should almost feel not grateful, but there has to be some appreciation for like this thing could have gone off the rails so quickly and it didn't.
I think in that if you take it in that and you put it in that way, I'm shocked that they were able to overcome and only go 12 and 5.
So was the front office.
I think the front office.
Look at it this way.
I think the front office was left holding their junk because they're like, shoot, if we would have done a little bit in the offseason, maybe a couple free agent moves, and then maybe a deadline.
They don't have the money. They don't have the money. They took a $100 million dead cap hit. They don't though. They don't. They took all the dead cap hit now to eventually go in all in next year and 2 years after that.
They assessed at the trade deadline and they said, you know what? If we run the table and let's say we win all these games right here, bam, 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 like there's a chance that we could be, not only a playoff team, but be in contention for something else too. Maybe number 2 seed, number 1 seed, and that's a possibility based on our schedule. Will it happen? I don't know. Maybe not. With all the injuries, I don't know. Maybe it's not our year. And then it happened, and then they beat all those bad teams, and they, got all the way to Seattle, and they were like, oh shit. Okay. Well, I guess we did it. Wasn't sure if we were going to or not. And then they got their ass kicked by Seattle. Defensively, they got their ass kicked. So
I will stand by the fact that no matter who you got at deadline day, whether it was the best guy, the worst guy, the exact same thing would have happened. You would have won the games you won, and you would have lost the game you lost.
Probably.
And I don't think that's crazy to say. And I really don't even think, like, let's just say hypothetically here, and that's not a world I want to live in, but let's say they got Trey Hendrickson.
Well, he's hurt.
Okay, that's my point. Jermaine Johnson, what's he doing for you? Nothing. Like, I don't think anybody they would have acquired unless it was like, think about it this way. Would you want to pay the price the Colts paid? They were in a better place in San Francisco.
Sauce Gardner? That was ridiculous.
No,
why would you make that trade?
They were in a better place in San Francisco. They were winning. What do you mean? You are almost advocating for them to make deals.
I wanted to get a pass rusher, not a fucking corner.
But the price for a pass rusher was a first-round draft pick, a second-round draft pick,
but
and
Jalen
Phillips,
Sauce Gardner
who was not a scheme fit.
In stopping the run. Terrible. We saw him get removed from the game when San Francisco was running all over them.
I agree.
That's not where I would have gone.
It wasn't a good trade, but the trade you're asking is trade a second-round draft pick for Jermaine Johnson. He isn't the game changer. We know that. Jalen Phillips isn't even a scheme fit on San Francisco. We watched the Eagles trade for Bryce Huff last year, scratch him healthy in the Super Bowl, him being like, yeah, I don't fit that defense, come to San Francisco and play well when the team was healthy. And you want San Francisco to do the exact same thing? That doesn't make any sense.
Them to get somebody in here. Would you rather have Jalen Phillips on the edge or Sam Okawanu?
I'd rather not trade for a guy that doesn't fit my scheme and a third-round draft pick.
See, that's just what I mean when I say I don't know how to feel this year. Like I'm all over the map. But the one place I could say that I've stayed consistent, and I'm still consistent, is we're here. We got to where we've gotten in spite of everything.
I know.
If I say I'm indifferent and I really don't know what to feel for this game on Sunday,
Huff is trash.
You know, if I say that, like, hey, I don't think they're going to win on Sunday, like, that's my honest to God opinion as a fan. It's not because I'm trying to be negative. But if we do lose, all the people that are attacking me for not having faith are going to say, well, we never were supposed to be here anyways. So it's still, we did it. So like, and what am I doing that's so much different? If I'm staying ahead of it that I don't, and then if we do succeed, I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't understand, like, me, that makes me not a fan because I'm being honest with how I feel about their chances.
So I think what you're explaining is every fan's mental, like, conversation with themselves. It is the battle inside of, like, are the Philadelphia Eagles a better team than San Francisco is? Yes.
Roster-wise, absolutely.
They're better. They're on paper. They may not be coached as well, but unfortunately, you don't have to be coached as well at times when you have a healthy roster and all those guys are, damn good, right? And I think that most people would say Philadelphia is a better team. They're healthier. They're at home field advantage. They're rested. Realistically speaking, Eagles are probably going to win this game on Sunday. But as a fan of the 49ers, as we all are, we have to try to find ways to be like, okay, like, this is how San Francisco can win. And if they can do these three things really well, they can pull the upset. They can, shock the world, if you will. And I think San Francisco, for as hard as it will be without Pearsall if he doesn't play, they do have a path to victory. And that has been what they've been trying to do all year long. They overcame the Bears with the Herculean fourth down stop or, red zone stop against Caleb Williams. Like, this team has had to ride that really thin line of success all year. Yeah. And they've done it for most of the season, right? They've won 12 games, one more than Philadelphia, I may add. And it's like, this is a team that I think, realistically speaking, they know they aren't good enough. They know that because they're not good enough. We know they aren't good enough. We talked in the preseason. This team is not a Super Bowl contender. When they were vying for the number 1 seed, we all said they're good, but they aren't a Super Bowl contender. That said, everything changes now.
Let me ask you this.
All you have to find is that one path, nail it, hit the bullseye, and you can win any game in the playoffs.
Let me ask you this, and this is where I'm trying to be fair and not be emotional. You said, we've had this conversation, but Niners are not going to win the Super Bowl this year. You are a very positive, always seeing the glass half full person. So in a way, what happened on Sunday, this past Sunday, like, hey, everyone was like, buy in. Mike, I do the show with Mike, SF Gold Rush. He's like, you got to buy in. Guys, I was disappointed last week. You know why? Because in my heart, I started to buy in. I started to listen to everybody because in my heart, I wanted to be like, you know what? Maybe we do got a chance. And then when it didn't happen, I was pissed. I was pissed after that game because I'm like, damn, I let myself buy into it when I know better. So it's like, it's hard for me, man, because part of me wants to say, yeah, let's go into Philadelphia and shock the world. But then another part of me is like, I kind of stayed consistently and felt that, we were a one and done playoff team. So if that happens, I'm not really saying anything out of the ordinary or like off the top of my head. And I don't think that's me being a negative fan if I've been kind of pretty steady all year. It's crazy. Tell me this, Sterling, when that game ended last week, even though we've had all the talk, we've known how everything was going to be this year. How disappointed were you that we didn't get the 1 seed? You were pissed. It
sucked. It sucked. because there was a way that we can all sit back and now we can kind of reflect of like, if you win against Seattle, you don't play this week. Maybe you get lucky and Philadelphia has to play the Rams, or one of those teams knock each other out. Seattle has to go on the road somewhere maybe. And maybe they're playing Chicago. Maybe they're playing the Panthers, but still, who knows? You get Trent healthy, or Pearsall is probably healthy in 2 weeks, and Fred Warner might be back. Like, that was the best case of like, oh my God, here's our chance, and they didn't capitalize on it. But that said, that doesn't change the fact that the Eagles have a pretty crappy offense. They don't run the football well. They don't pass the football well. Hurts is not a top quarterback in the NFL this year. And their defense, for as good as it can be, can also still be beaten at times on the ground in a wide zone rushing offense. What does San Francisco have? A wide zone rushing offense with their Hall of Fame left tackle back. Why should I not buy into that? And on top of that, their offense has Brock Purdy playing quarterback still. And for the last month and 3 weeks, he's been the best quarterback in football. And they have Kyle Shanahan calling plays. I know they don't have the dogs. They're banged up, and all that's true. The cards are stacked against them. But why should we not sit up here on Sunday, or even today on Friday, being like, you know what? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
Like, who cares how many cards are stacked against you? You want to know why? Because none of it matters. No one cares who's hurt. No one cares who's out. No one cares who's in. Your job is to walk in there at the link in a hostile environment and pick that freaking defense apart and walk away with the middle finger in the air saying, fuck you. This is our time to win, and we just stomp the shit out of that defense in Philadelphia. If you want to be that kind of fan, which is what I want to be at my chair, at my seat, yelling, screaming, and believing this offense can at least take apart that Philadelphia defense that can't stop the run, and Jalen Hurts' sorry ass as a quarterback that can't see the middle of the football field. Like,
he's a little guy.
Where San Francisco has weaknesses on defense, Hurts can't exploit them. He's not that guy. He ain't that guy. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. Like, the Niners can win this game. It's going to be tough. It's an uphill climb, and they may have to walk their way through a bunch of dog shit to do it, but they're going to fight for every single blade of grass, and they may lose. They will probably lose. But you know what? I know this team will go down swinging. That's the best thing you can ask for a team this banged up, this hurt, that right now looks like the season's kind of over. Part of the fan base feels that, but guess what? You can take jab after jab. Rocky says it's not how many times you get knocked down. It's how many times you get back up and keep fighting. And this team will keep fighting till the very end.
I think at least offensively, they have a lot of players that have a lot of pride. Kittle, McCaffrey, Trent Williams, and Brock, you know? So in that aspect, it's like, yeah, I think offensively that they will give us everything they have against this Philadelphia defense. I wish personally that the defense kind of had that same approach, that same moxie, that kind of us against the world mentality. I feel like
they have less talent than the offense does. The offense has proven superstars on the team. Well, you know, not to cut you off, but like when you talk about, you know, I bought into this team. For me, it's like, this is my team. This is the fucking 49ers, a team I've watched as a child. Like I said, I don't care who is on the fucking field. As long as they win, that's all I care about. Even in the years when everybody was like, oh, dude, I hope they lose and we get the number one pick in the draft.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want them to lose. I want them to fucking win. Fuck these teams. I want to see them win. And here's the thing. When you break down the defensive rankings and offensive rankings of these teams, this Eagles team has not been a world beater like it was last year. It's got dysfunction. It's got problems. Brandon Graham literally had to come back from retirement to help them out because they were like, oh, God, please help us. And then I know, look, Lane Johnson's back. He's going to make a huge difference. But us getting Trent Williams back is going to be a huge difference maker. And if he goes out with an injury and he can't sustain it, that's going to hurt really, really bad. But if he can stay out there and he can be effective, he's a huge difference maker. Now, when you look at the defense of the Eagles, it's not good. I think their greatest strength is their pass defense, like their secondary, which isn't even that great. I think they're number 7. But then it's like when you look at their run defense, not good. Their third down defense, even worse. Third down defense, I think I have it right here. Third down defense for the for the Philadelphia Eagles, they are ranked number 21 with a 40.5% success rate on third down. When you compare that to last week, Seattle's number 1 with a 32.1% success rate in getting you off the field. That's a huge difference. That's a massive difference. It's almost a 10% increase that they're going to get you off the field. And look, I said it before, the game last week was going to be won on third down. Niners have a number 1 third down offense in the league. Seattle has a number 1 third down defense in the league. Whoever can win third down is going to win this game. And guess what? Seattle won third down with their defense, and they also won it with their offense as well, especially on that 3rd and 17, which was probably one of the biggest backbreakers of the game, along with that interception as well. That sealed the deal. But this is going to be a very different game. This is not a defense. Like, you can have a defense that's got a lot of pass rushers, Brandon Graham, Jalen Carter, all these guys. We've seen that before, like the New York Giants. They had Thibodeau. They have Abdul Carter. They have one more guy, too. I can't think of his name.
Brian Burns,
who's like leading the league in sacks. But guess what?
That is Brian Burns' 16 sacks is like quarterbacks running into him saying, like, can I have a hug? Anyway, sorry, go on.
But my point is that, like, you can have teams that have a ton of sacks and get pass rush on a quarterback. But there's some teams that do that, and they're crappy at stopping the run because that's not what those guys are built for. Now, they have another guy, a D tackle on the Eagles that's really, really good and really, really gigantic.
Jordan Davis?
Yeah, Jordan Davis, who's going to be like a huge boulder out there. But still, this team has not been consistently effective against the run. This team has not been consistently effective defensively, especially on third down. And that's where the Niners find the most success, is especially on third down. If the Niners can sustain long drives that end in points, maybe 3 or 7, they will win this game. Because the Eagles have the highest percentage of turning the ball over on third down. Not by turnover, but just by not getting a first down. They go 3 and out, I think, almost the highest of any team in the league. And that's why Philly fans were ready to kill Sirianni and Hurts, because they can't sustain drives.
What's crazy is they won the Super Bowl last year, and
but that was different, though.
So easily,
it's different.
No,
they had Josh Sweat.
But
that's a huge.
It's because Kevin Patullo is now their offensive coordinator, and Kellen.
I respect my opponent, though, because I feel like the playoffs are a new season.
Yeah,
and I feel like sometimes teams, even in years like the 88 49ers were like a 10-6 team. They played really up and down that whole season, and then they went into the playoffs in 88, and Montana played incredible. Rice played incredible in this playoffs. Boom, they win a Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, like, I still, yes, there are a bunch of names, but I respect a lot of the talent of those players that they could come alive this Sunday. Do I think the Niners have a chance against this version of the Eagles? Absolutely. Do I think they can score some points this Sunday and keep this game competitive? Sure.
Look,
but it's going to take, that's what it's going to take. I have a lot of confidence in Brock Purdy. I'm not going to jump off the ship because all of a sudden he had one bad game last week when we really know he didn't really have any time. Like this whole narrative that some people like to run with, Brock didn't step up last week. Like, really? With what? How? He didn't have any time. He had nowhere to go with the ball. They were clamping down on defense. That Seattle defense was incredible last week. So I still have confidence in Brock. I have confidence in Kittle, McCaffrey. I hope they can get a couple stops this week. I'm telling you, that's what it really takes. If they could just be average on defense, and score some points, they can win this game.
I mean, if it wasn't for the big third downs they gave up, the defense made stops. But again, I think what everyone's overlooking is that last week's game
they also gave up almost 200 yards rushing last week too.
Right. But last week's game showed you that Seattle's offense is not very good.
No,
and I know people were saying they have some high rankings with Seattle. No, they're not that good. They were running a straight up Jimmy Garoppolo offense. Don't ask Sam Darnold to do too much. Ask him to throw on second down. Hand the ball off. The guy nearly fucked the game over when he got stepped on and still tried to give the ball to Kenneth Walker, and it was a fumble, landed right in the hands of freaking Gross Matos, and he couldn't corral it. If they turn that ball over, there's a chance the Niners score on that drive, and that would have changed the entire game. If they scored on the drive, they threw the interception.
Yeah,
that changes the entire complexity of the game. So, I think when it comes to going against Philadelphia, for me, I know we want to move on to another topic, but I really feel like this Sunday, the pressure is on Philly to win this game.
Sure,
if they come out and they somehow can't, they're having problems with the ball, they fall behind 7-0, they fall behind 14-0, the pressure is going to mount on them being at the link. They're going to be like, holy shit, we can't lose this game. And for the Niners, I mean, they're essentially playing with house money. This is a team that most of the league wrote off the moment that Nick Bosa went down with the injury, the moment that Fred Warner went down with the injury. And so for these guys, they're out there giving it their all because, frankly, they're not even supposed to be there. And I would love nothing more than to see San Francisco go in there and knock the shit out of the Eagles and knock them out of the playoffs. I don't even care if we lose the following week. As long as we knock off the Eagles, to me, this year was a success on a year in which we lost so many players.
What am I wrong? Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I talk positively about Brock Purdy, and then I got someone attacking me in the comments. I can't win either way. If I'm positive about the team,
don't worry about the chat. Just don't worry about the chat.
I get told to shut up and take my hat off. And if I talk positive, somebody comes flying in here to defend. I don't know who they're defending, but they're just going after me and Purdy. So whatever.
Chris
it is what it is. I don't know. Like I feel.
I'm telling you, the Eagles are fucking phonies, dude.
No. I feel like the Eagles. I feel like the Eagles are gettable, and you're right. I think the pressure is completely on them. There is no pressure on the 49ers. I think the only pressure that's on the 49ers is from fans like me.
Or fans like the kid Ace over here who's like, not supposed to be there. They got the easiest schedule in the league. It's like, dude, you guys are the defending Super Bowl champions, and you played like shit for most of the season. So we'll see how it turns out this Sunday. But if you guys lose, fucking pie on your face because your team shit the bed.
Yeah, if you guys lose to a team like us who's undermanned, that's a bad look. Yes, they have a chip, but that would be rough. You have a chance to go back to back and win 2 Super Bowls in a row, and you lose to a team that literally limped into the playoffs. That would be a bad look. So yeah, the pressure is definitely on the Eagles. I agree with that 100%.
I think I speak for most fans.
Want us to lose. Come on.
He wants those draft picks.
He's trying to turn the tables on us. I want them to lose. Oh, shit.
The reverse psychology happening in the chat is off the charts right now. But I think that most Niner fans, including myself, would say we are cautiously optimistic of we know the challenge is ahead. However, we do know Philadelphia's offense has been mediocre at best this season, right? They're 19th in points per game. They scored the 9th most points in the first half, but the 26th most points in the second half. If you can avoid that first punch, you can usually find a way to win late in games. They're 23rd in passing yards per game. They're 18th in rushing yards per game. And Philadelphia is 24th in third down conversion rate, 37%. And they led the NFL in 3-and-outs offensively.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Jalen Hurts, when pressured, 6 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He holds the ball for a very long time, where Purdy does the same thing. Jackson Dart, Justin Fields. He also is sacked 2 times per game. Saquon Barkley isn't the same guy. 345 attempts last year. It looks like he had 345 attempts last year. He's only averaging 2.71 yards after contact, hence why tackling's a big deal for San Francisco's defense in this game. And I do think that you can get through or to Jalen Hurts via Landon Dickerson, who has a 49.1 true passing grade this year. You have to have a big Alfred Collins game, Kalia Davis, Keon White, Yetur Gross-Matos, CJ West. Which one of those guys can step up on the interior and create some plays? I want to see more of West. I want to see more of Collins. Those guys I think can play better than Jordan Elliott can and Kalia Davis, who somehow is still starting games with his defense, even though he's terrible. He's so freaking bad.
What is it with this team?
Collins and West should be starting at this point. At least Alfred Collins. He should be starting every game. And they always roll out there with Jordan Elliott and Khalil Davis, and then they're out there for like the first possession or and a half, and they're like, okay, let's get the other guys out here. And it's kind of like, what are we doing? Like, look, is Khalil Davis having a good year? Yeah, he's having a good year. But you draft these guys for a fucking reason. Just get them out there and play them.
I mean, Khalil Davis is not having a good year, though. That's the problem.
What
is it with the 49ers of drafting players and just are afraid to play them? I feel like this year wasn't the year to be cautious because of all the injuries, because of all the problems. And it's weird how, like, I feel like Kyle and John draft as almost if, like, you know, they have nothing to lose, you know, like kind of willy-nilly drafting instead of like really focusing on things. And I feel like they're with players sometimes where like they think like they're drafting as if these guys are sitting for a reason because they got all these great players in front of them. They don't. This receiving core could use some speed and separation. And why can't Watkins play? Yeah. Why? What's the problem?
That's what I'm saying is that they should just start as opposed to just going with the other two guys. And okay, that's enough, and then bring these guys in. Like, come on.
Well, I think we all know why Watkins isn't playing. It's because Kyle is a hard ass on wide receivers, right? He was one himself, and he expects perfection basically out of those guys. And I think a lot of it, and it's a big reason why guys like Danny Gray didn't play a lot. It's a big reason, why Dante Pettis didn't play a lot. And I don't want to compare Watkins to those busts of players, but Shanahan is like, if you're not giving me effort and you're not hitting the miles per hour on the radar, if you're not giving me, where all the monitors said we should be and everything, you're not going to play. And I think that at least for young players, it's hard to meet the expectation because it's so high. Even guys like Brandon Ayuk, who I know nowadays we aren't fans of, but like he was a damn good wide receiver when he was healthy.
Yes, he
was.
Even
he found himself in the doghouse post a good rookie season. Like he was good in 2020. And Shanahan was like, I don't care. You're young and you've made some mistakes, so we're going to clean things up. But I think you're right, Aaron, though, with the desperation this team has offensively at wide receiver, why can't guys like Jordan Watkins or maybe Cowing plays on Sunday? Who knows? Probably not, but who knows? Why can't those guys see the field over dudes like DeMarcus Robinson? He's been a bust this year. Why, guys like Bourne are getting a lot of, reps and whatnot. Like this team needs not explosiveness. They just need some capable bodies. And right now they have one guy and it's Juwan Jennings and that's it. So
capable body with young players that have actual like physical, like they do one thing really good is be fast. This offense is so congested. They play so like everything's within 10 yards, 10 to 12 yards. That's the way they play. And I would love, right. Because it hides a lot of deficiencies.
Man. If you watch the way the offense was playing against the Colts and against the Bears, Brock was fucking airing it out, deep shots into the end zone. It was great to see. But I think that, like, if the Niners can get Trent Williams to play, which I think he's going to play, he even said, that he feels like he's going to play, but it's a game-time decision. Okay, I get that. I respect that. You still got to travel across country. I got it. But if they get Trent Williams and they get Ricky Pearsall to play, they're going to win this game. I mean, we've seen how effective the offense is when Pearsall is out there. And even in games where he doesn't make much of a difference, having him out there with that ability, they have to pay attention to where he's at. They know he's a first-round pick. They know what he's capable of doing. And we saw him, even against the Bears, making clutch catches, even in pain.
He really didn't play that bad last week either. If you really look at statistic-wise, Brock.
Oh, I think about Pearsall. He didn't even play. What do you mean?
No, but a lot of I don't think Brock played bad against the Seahawks.
The interception wasn't his fault. It got tipped, and then how often does McCaffrey drop passes?
You gotta catch that. You gotta catch that.
If that pass is on time and doesn't get tipped, and it's just a straight pass,
that momentum is completely different.
A touchdown. That's probably a touchdown right there.
Of course, and momentum completely. Dude, momentum with this particular version of the 49ers is so important. This team, momentum can get them going and make them look like $1 million at least on offense. And I feel like, and I watch games, it also, because they're young and experienced and they got a lot of guys hurt, momentum does get to this team as well. Like the negative momentum, it seems to snowball when you watch games. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know, maybe it's the lack of leadership on defense with Bosa and Fred not being out there. Someone that can kind of gather the troops and tell them to like freaking sack up and forget about what just happened. They didn't score, so what? Let's get, you know what I mean? Like I feel like they're missing that on defense.
I mean, just having the possibility of Fred Warner returning next week is motivation enough to say, dude, we got to get this done. I know you're on with Larry. He's like, yeah, he worked out on the side. That doesn't mean anything. He's very negative about him coming back. But, dude, I'm telling you, I think this guy's going to try and come back.
Larry's very up and down. He's either really positive about the 49ers and sings their praises, or he completely just like he's all over the place. For people that discredit Larry, though, and say not to say his name in this chat, he's a very talented freaking person who's been doing it a long time. I got nothing but respect for Larry. So don't hate.
We had a question in the chat earlier, and it goes back to Aaron mentioning momentum. It was by Cam's dad, and he asked, do you take the ball first if you win the coin toss? And I'll toss to Aaron because he was speaking on momentum, but you believe more in the offense than the defense, and I think rightfully so. Would it be wise if San Francisco won the coin toss and said, we want the ball and we're going to score a la Matt Hasselbeck against Green Bay in the playoffs about a decade and a half ago? Do you think the offense can be a tone setter for this team? If they get the ball first, they go down and score, does it change the game? Or do you say, no, play your game, don't get out of your comfort zone, and let your defense just try to get a stop on the first drive?
I would do what they usually do, and that's defer. Because if they can get score going into halftime, come out of halftime, score again. That's what Kyle's plan usually is. If they have the chance to make that decision, Kyle always goes with giving them the ball first because, you can double up on a team before they know it hit them. And you got to imagine that's the way you got to look at it. Give the Eagles the ball. If we all truly believe in this chat that the Eagles are challenged offensively and the Niners could either hold them to a punt or a field goal, that's a win for the 49ers to start the game. And then if they can score, early on and maybe towards the end of the half, and then that's how they have to play it. I feel like in that way, Kyle, I always agree with them on that, especially against teams, teams that maybe have like a Rams type team. You got to get as many points quickly on them on their defense because their offense is going to score. And like Kyle kind of usually goes that way all the time. So yeah, I would go with deferring and trying to double up end of the half and third quarter. So
Dre?
I would defer. I would kick no matter what.
Always.
I don't want my offense going out there with a fucking a drunken, hyped up fan base like, rah! And so I would say, look, kick the ball, let their offense go out there. If they stink it up and you get the ball back, that's different. Chances are they're going to defer. Eagles are going to score in the first drive. Most teams do against the Niners. They go right down the field and score.
Guys, he just went negative. You got to attack him now. You got to be consistent.
But I'm saying, like, most teams score in their first. Like, if the Indianapolis scored, the Bears scored, Seattle, I think. No, they didn't score.
They almost did. They should have scored.
We stopped them on fourth down because Sam Darnold choked. So I think they will defer because they, he likes his offense. He wants to know what he needs to do. And that's funny because in the Super Bowl, that's the whole point why you kick. Because you want to know what you need. Like, hey, we need a touchdown, not a field goal. This is what we have to do. And I think Kyle likes that in getting that first drive, having them go first. Okay, they scored a touchdown. We need to answer with points. It's just situational football that he likes to read off of that. And when he starts with offense, they usually, sometimes they do really well. Sometimes they don't. But look at the last time or the game, week 1 against Seattle. Seattle got the ball first, and then we got the ball, drove right down, scored a touchdown our first drive. It was like, yeah. And guess who was out there? Trent Williams was out there, and Ricky Pearsall was out there. And you saw an entirely different offense. Yeah, it was week 1, but still, it was an entirely different looking offense that was able to move the ball. So,
I have an idea. How about every time San Francisco gets the football, they just score a touchdown? Seems pretty easy, right?
That's what they were doing for a while. I was like, well, we're just going to score.
Laurie's putting it out there. It's not really. He still wants me to take my hat. I'm not taking my hat off, homie.
Dude, take it all off, man.
Take it all off.
That'll get us a lot of views.
It's just red hair. 46 and no grays. Yeah, baby.
I do have some more kind of magical numbers, if you will, for San Francisco. Then we can get into our final topic of the day, that being Robert Saleh's future with the 49ers if they lose or win this game on Sunday against Philadelphia. Philadelphia blitzes the third lowest rate in the NFL, so they're not going to attack Purdy. They're not going to blitz Purdy, at least history would say they're not going to do that. They play, again, a very similar defense like Seattle does. They play light boxes, which I think does almost help San Francisco wanting to run the football. It's why you've seen in their losses this year, every one of their losses, the opponent has had 125 plus rushing yards, and in 3 of those losses, 150. That included 200 plus against Chicago with DeAndre Swift and Kyle Monangai. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, I'm saying CMC, Brian Robinson, lead me to victory. Now we'll see if and make Philadelphia adjust. If they do, safeties get brought down, then boom, you hit him over the top with Kittle, and maybe if Ricky Pearsall plays, Pearsall as well. I think you want to be around 4.5 yards a carry. Again, you can get Philadelphia to stack that box and hopefully beat him over the top. And if Pearsall does play, a big matchup they have advantages with is against Adoree Jackson. Adoree Jackson has been fine, but I think he's held up by that Philadelphia defense. At 89.3 passer rating allowed, 504 yards allowed, and more importantly here, an 18% missed tackle rate. So again, there is ways to exploit that Philadelphia defense. But
everyone is so traumatically fucked from the Seahawks game. This is not the same team.
Yeah.
We're not playing the Seahawks again. We're playing an entirely different team. A team that has averaged, they've allowed an average of 124.4 yards a game.
Yeah,
the Niners on the ground running. The Niners have the number 11 ranked rushing defense, only allowing 107.8. They've only allowed 13 touchdowns on the ground. The Eagles have allowed 20 touchdowns on the ground. If the Niners are able to find ways to utilize Robinson and CMC to sustain drives and run the ball, it's going to be a long night for Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now.
When a lot of people have been saying, like, well, Jalen Carter's been out and Nakobe Dean's been out. And you're right, but Nakobe Dean's not great in coverage, and Jalen Carter has been one of the worst defensive tackles in run defense this year. Also, that guy's a piece of crap, too. So whenever he can lose.
Well, guess what? Michael Williams has been out. Nick Bosa has been out. Fred Warner has been out. Bethune was out.
Well, the difference is now he's back.
Yeah, I know.
Those guys aren't back for San Francisco, but
I don't think Jalen Carter's played in how many games? Or did he play last week? I don't think he played last week.
Well, they rested everybody last week, so I don't know if, or at least they rested most guys last week. But either way, he's a great pass rusher. He'll make an impact in some way. God forbid Jake Brendel plays like crap in the biggest game of his life, or second biggest game of his life. That said, we should turn the tides. Bebop is going there in the comments.
Oh my Lord, dude.
It's all caps.
You know what's funny too is, like, it's just football opinions, and it makes him hate me.
This is our life, Aaron. It's
oh my Lord.
It's more than a game to me. It's like that WWE. It's real to me, damn it.
Dude, he thinks that wrestling is real. He does.
Okay.
Hey, man, it's scripted television.
Some would say the NFL is too. I'm just saying.
I mean, you're right.
I've made that. I've made that argument as well, so I agree with that.
Okay, let's turn the tide to what can transpire in the offseason quickly, because the season can be over as
you. Then leave the fucking chat. And then leave.
Okay. Hey, let's chill. The tide can turn very quickly on Sunday. If San Francisco wins
quickly, what are you talking about?
I just mean more so the season can be over as soon as Sunday. It can continue as well, but
don't say that.
If it does end, the bigger topic of conversation becomes the future of the coaching staff, that being Robert Saleh. And Dre, it's one of the topics that you wanted to get into because Robert Saleh is seemingly wanted, or at least being interviewed by every single coaching vacancy in the NFL, the Falcons, the Titans, the Raiders, anybody you could think of, the Ravens. And it seems like that a lot of people believe he's going to be gone. I'm not one of those people, but still. What do you guys make of the interest in Saleh? Do you think it's a foregone conclusion he's gone, or do you think there's a chance he comes back next year?
Gone.
That is that simple.
Yeah. If you're getting interviews from the Ravens and the Falcons, to me, those are the two jobs that he's going to want is either Baltimore or Atlanta. Because Atlanta, at least, you already have what's his face there? The D coordinator.
Ulbrich. Yeah.
Ulbrich. You already got Ulbrich there, and he's already worked with him in New York. More than likely, this is the shitty part for San Francisco, is that if he goes to any of these teams, Brant Boyer is probably going with him. Good chance of that. The good chance of that happening. And he may even bring, what's his name, Clay Kubiak, the one that we got. He might even take him with him and make him his offensive coordinator, who has more say as a coordinator there than he will here in San Francisco. So I see Saleh going to either Atlanta or Baltimore and bringing those guys with him.
Okay.
And then
Aaron?
Mike McDaniel coming back to being our offensive coordinator.
I just think the sheer volume of teams that need a coach is scary, and I think he's going to be gone as well.
Yeah, but it's still a lot of those teams. Like nobody wants to go. Like Arizona, I would not want to go there. Although I knew they were going to try to make a move because they wanted a defensive-minded coach because they were drafting for a defensive-minded head coach in Jonathan Gannon. But look at these teams: the Titans, train wreck. The Giants are a train wreck. Arizona, a mess. The two teams that stand out the most is Baltimore and Atlanta because they're in that kind of like Goldilocks zone where you're like, well, things actually aren't that bad where they're at.
I mean, Atlanta probably wants an offensive-minded head coach, knowing they just tried the defensive thing, and Ulbrich's still there. On top of that, they don't have their first-round draft pick this year, so I don't know how appealing that is, knowing they don't have a quarterback, and if the one they believe in is Penix, he's out for most of next year, or at least a lot of next year. Atlanta, to me, doesn't seem like a right fit for Robert Saleh. It seems like somebody that maybe comes in as like a younger offensive head coach they give time to, kind of how Kellen Moore went to New Orleans this year, where it's like, hey, you need a couple of years to get things right. There's pieces in place, but really, we're not in a good spot right now, so come save us in a couple of seasons. That said, the Ravens, I think, make a lot of sense, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Saleh comes in and fixes the defense. They bring in McDaniels. He is the offensive coordinator. I don't know how
forgot about that. That's a good one.
I don't know how well that works with Lamar Jackson playing quarterback and what his say is in that conversation, but I do think that we are forgetting there are other playoff teams like the Chargers and Jesse Minter, who I think is someone no one's talking about as a Ravens head coach possibility. There's ties to Baltimore, and with the Harbaugh situation out there, I do think that while it may not happen, when Saleh is obviously a big name, I almost feel like he's not respected, but it's a guy like, yeah, we'll talk to Robert, but we don't really want him to be the guy. It's like we like him, but I don't know. It's just like
I don't think a team like Cleveland would go and get rid of Stefanski and then go to a guy like Saleh.
No, that'd be terrible.
They have Jim Schwartz, who's probably better than Saleh for.
What about a guy? What about a team? What about a team like Miami? Would you see Saleh going to a team like that? My brother doesn't want him. And he has no hate on. He just doesn't. My brother thinks that Saleh is a good coordinator. He doesn't think he's a great head coach.
I mean, at this point, a lot of teams are desperate for anything right now. They're just trying to look.
That's probably
for a
more
guy.
Consensus too.
But he's not really the guy.
I don't think anybody leaves with them, Dre. I don't think Boyer. They're not going to let Boyer go. There's no way.
Oh, they can't stop him. If he's like, hey,
yeah,
come
they
with
can't
me. All right, let's go.
It.
Yeah, they can't stop him. They're like, see you later.
Could they pay him more?
They can.
He can say that. He can say no to that.
Didn't John Lynch say something about doing what they can to keep Robert in the building if they have to, pay him more or whatever?
Yeah, but they're not gonna. The one thing San Francisco is never gonna do, whether it was Demeco, whether it was Saleh, McDaniels, they'll let their guys interview. They want them to get the head coaching jobs when it helps them, obviously on the back end too. But they aren't gonna block them from interviews. But the only way San Francisco can entice those guys back is, you want some more money. So I don't know, Boyer might leave. We'll see. Obviously, depends on what happens with the team Saleh, if he leaves, goes to. But I don't know. I just think that if the Chargers win and beat, I don't even know who they're playing, Jacksonville, I think, or New England, whoever it is. I do think that there's a good chance Saleh actually isn't even a head coach next year. I just don't think the teams that need a head coach are sitting back like, Robert Saleh is our guy.
That's what I'm saying. Robert Saleh isn't the guy you look at and go, that's the future of our franchise.
The only team, though, Buffalo. That's the only team.
But even Buffalo, if they fire McDermott and let's say they bring him in, I still don't believe that they can look at him and say this is our long-term successor. I honestly.
But why though? Because they already have the OC in place in Joe Brady. He's there, and if he leaves, you go bring in Brian Dable. He becomes the offensive coordinator again, which he wasn't for the Giants job.
Prove himself as a head coach, and to me, he hasn't done that yet.
But that's the thing is the reason why he failed in New York, outside of the dysfunction behind the scenes.
Why, yeah,
right. But like he didn't have a quarterback. He couldn't get the offense right. The offense, besides wide receiver, is done in Buffalo. It's the best quarterback in football and a top 5 running back in football right now in James Cook. They just got to find some receivers.
Yeah.
So it's you put Saul in Buffalo, he fixes the defense, which the defense is terrible this year.
Yeah.
I mean, that team's kind of fixed and done. Right?
If they fire McDermott, then I think
which they should.
They should. I think the first guy they're going to try and turn to is John Harbaugh. That's my opinion, because they want somebody who's been a franchise coach, who's won a Super Bowl, who's done a lot of who's had talent around him. He's just a guy that you look at and go, I want that guy to lean on as my head coach for the next 5 to 6 years.
Right, but Harbaugh, for as great as he is exactly what Sirianni is. He doesn't coach defense. He doesn't coach offense. So you have to find a defensive coordinator now.
Right, but I'm saying like that's like an established name as a head coach for your team if you bring in a guy like John Harbaugh. So
I almost feel like we have a question by Lori here in the comments. She asks, "Where do you think Harbaugh goes?"
I wish he would go to Miami for my brother's sake. They need it. They need a coach.
They need some leadership.
He wants it so bad, but he said they're not set up for a coach like him to be there. Like it's not a good destination. So that sucks.
I almost feel like the Falcons would be great with Jim Harbaugh or John Harbaugh, excuse me. They have the DC already in place. They can go find an offensive coordinator, and you plug in a coach like that with a young team still. I think they can go a long way, or at least make some noise.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like John to me also makes sense in New York, but I don't think John. But I don't think John is a guy who's like, you know what, I want to like the risk you run, or it's like you have a defense in place personnel wise, but it's like they need to get some fixed on the back end, sure. And a linebacker, but the offense, does John Harbaugh like Jackson Dart? I have no idea. And that to me is a concern. And Dart can't even stay healthy. So it's like, is he walking into a situation saying like, get him out of here? I want my quarterback. I don't know.
I think Jackson Dart showed a lot in just his rookie season that the guy has a lot of talent and can be something really special. And those are the two teams that I thought stood out the most. Obviously, we talked about the possibility of Buffalo if that were to arise. But I think that Atlanta and the New York Giants are a better fit for John Harbaugh. Would he go to a team like Miami or Arizona? No.
Cleveland.
Tennessee? No. Cleveland? Why? Cleveland is such a train wreck. They're going to have to find somebody that wants to be a head coach so badly that they're willing to go anywhere. I don't think Saleh would go there. He may interview there. I don't know. I don't think that's a desirable destination for a guy like Robert Saleh, because that whole offense is a train wreck.
Well, that's the thing too, is like Saleh can be really nitpicky with his decision. He doesn't have to leave it all if he doesn't want to. But if he gets, let's say 9
him hiring that agency kind of told me that he's serious about getting out of here.
Well, he wants the best option available to him, which is why he made that change. Like, I want to make sure that this offseason that I have the best representation that I can get, because I want to get the best job offer I can get. So,
well, like I just think about it. I'm like, Saleh probably isn't the number one guy on many teams' board. Maybe he's 2 and 3. I don't know. But like Chris Shula from the Rams, their defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris probably deserves a job somewhere. I don't know where that is, but deserves a job somewhere.
Lance Joseph.
Like Lance Joseph. You can go John Harbaugh. You can go Joe Brady. You can go Brian Dable. Probably get a job somewhere too, whether it's OC or it's a head coach. I mean, there are a lot of places, I think, and maybe not a lot of them, but there are some places now, like you talked about, Buffalo could easily fire McDermott, and McDermott jumps up boards all over the place. We want that guy in our system. We want that guy in our head coaching room. So it's like, I know it's now, and we're seeing all the interviews come out, but like DeMeco Ryans did not leave after 1 year, and the Vikings wanted to hire him as a head coach, and he said no. And that was probably bad choice on his end, albeit the Texans are still good. But I don't know. It just seems like that there are better coaches available. The way the NFL is trending, hiring a defensive-minded head coach probably isn't what you want to do. Like, you want an offensive guy, and the teams that need maybe that hard-nosed kind of motivator have young quarterbacks that Sala probably wouldn't want to go and coach. So, like, I kind of think he stays. And I don't think it's close unless a team, like, take last year, for example. He was going to be hired by Jacksonville. Why? They had a good defense in place, the quarterback's under contract, and he can build from within. No team fits that bill unless you're the Ravens. And I don't really think the Ravens want Robert Saleh. I really don't. Maybe it's just me, but I think he's going to stay. That said, though, we have been on for almost an hour and a half. We should end this by giving our predictions for Sunday's.
I take my hat off since I'm not a real fan.
Let's do something different, actually. Let's go around the board here, and let's predict every game, right? We only get one of these each year, wild card round. So let's predict every wild card game this year. We can reconvene next Friday and see if we're right. So let's predict the first wild card game on Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Panthers hosting the Los Angeles Rams, starting with Aaron. Who do you think wins that game, Rams or Panthers?
My heart wants to go for Carolina because they beat the Rams already, right? They beat the Rams, correct?
Yes. Stafford threw 3 picks and fumbled once, yes.
I think, listen, man, you could say what you want, and we hate the Rams. They're in our division. Dude, Stafford, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's a freaking MVP of the league. Yeah. Rams, and I think it's not even close. I think they blow them out, to be honest with you. Wow. I think the Rams kind of come back to who they've been this past season.
Okay. What do you think the score is? I think it's frozen.
Oh, no. Score? I thought it was 28-17 Rams.
Okay. 28-17 Rams. Dre, what do you think?
Rams, 31-10.
Okay.
Panthers offense is horrible. You watched that game last week where the Panthers against the Buccaneers? Oh, my God. That was a snooze fest. They had to struggle to score, and it wasn't like the Buccaneers were providing all kinds of crazy defense. It was just tough to get that offense moving. 31-10 Rams, and I think that it could even go where it's like 10-0 Carolina, and then they can't stop them. So yeah, Rams all the way.
I think it'll be 34-16. Rams get the win. Okay. Rams advance in our books. Let's go to the next game. That being Green Bay traveling to Chicago for round 3 of this interdivisional rivalry. Who do you think wins, Aaron? Packers or the Bears?
I don't know. Jordan Love hasn't really showed me anything as far as being a clutch player in the postseason. I think Ben Johnson's going to figure out a way to get the Bears to win this game. I know Caleb Williams is still an ascending player, and he's an incomplete kind of study right now, and he's still got some bad habits. But, I mean, even though they lost to us, I mean, that team was very impressive, at least offensively. So I just think the Bears, it's their time. They've been a downtrodden franchise for a while. So I'm picking them. Close game. 27-24.
Okay. You have the Bears. Dre, what do you think?
Bears.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. The Bears.
I think no Micah Parsons. You're just getting Jordan Love back, who's been concussed. They're in Chicago. I see Bears winning this game. Probably a final score of like 31-17.
Wow.
Okay. So both you pick in Chicago. I'm going to go with Green Bay. I think Green Bay wins. I think I trust LaFleur and Love more than I trust Ben Johnson and Williams right now. Parsons is out, so is Devontae Wyatt, but I just believe in the Green Bay offense a little more. And I think the Packers defense, their big concern is more so just their cornerbacks have no ball skills, and they just got Trevon Diggs from Dallas via free agency for free. So I don't know. I just feel in Green Bay in this one, mainly because if they win, they're traveling to Seattle and San Francisco gets to host or gets to play the Rams in round number 2. So that should be fun as well. Really, anything to avoid going to play in Seattle is what I want. So I think Green Bay wins. I'll say 28-23. I think Green Bay wins. Okay. Next game on the docket, 10 a.m. Santa's coming, 10 a.m. Bills against Jacksonville. I'll start this one. I'll go quick here. I think Jacksonville actually upsets the Bills in this one. Maybe upsetting isn't the right word to use, knowing they're the higher seed, but I think the Josh Allen McDermott marriage ends this weekend. I think it has to end. I think this is it. I think if the Seahawks can, or the Seahawks, if Jacksonville can run the football, it's over. And I think this offense in Jacksonville has shown the ability to run the football. So I don't know. I'm just feeling what Liam Cohen is preaching, albeit not when he's playing San Francisco because he's kind of a prick, but I'm picking Jacksonville.
Yeah, I'm going to go Jacksonville as well. My brother, he says that he's a Dolphins fan, so of course he loves when the Bills struggle, but me and him have both come to the same conclusion. Buffalo is wasting the prime of Josh Allen. They have not built a good team around him, not on offense other than running back and not on defense. So that being said, I think Jacksonville is a more complete team on both sides of the ball. And I believe the same thing. I think the Bills just don't have enough. They don't have enough. It's the Josh Allen show. I'm going to go Jaguars 31, Buffalo 21.
Ooh, 10 points. I'll say I didn't get my score, so I'll say it's 26-23 Jacksonville. Okay,
you have a lot of those scores they see on the internet when they pick like the games. You know what I'm talking about?
Scorigami.
It's always like 3 points.
Yeah, it'll be close. Dre?
I'm gonna say Buffalo wins this game. I think that when you're putting the game in the hands of a guy like Trevor Lawrence, he's not going to come through. I think defensively, the Jaguars will be a problem for the Buffalo offense. However, at the end of the day, I would go Buffalo winning 24-21.
Okay. Let's skip to Sunday and Monday night, and we'll save San Francisco for the end. Chargers, Patriots in New England. I'm picking Jim Harbaugh and the Chargers to upset the Patriots in this one. I believe in Jim Harbaugh. I believe in Justin Herbert. I know they've taken a few steps back in recent weeks, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I've yet to see what May is in the playoffs, so I'll go with the more proven talent, albeit it isn't that much more proven because they have struggled in the playoffs in previous years. That said, I think Harbaugh pulls it off. I think the Patriots, although are having a great year, there are distractions in place. The Stephon Diggs stuff. I don't know if he's going to play on Sunday. He probably will, but still. I don't know. Young team, way ahead of schedule now because of the way May's played this year. So I'll take the Chargers, and I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think it'll be 20-17 Chargers with the win. Aaron?
Man, it's tough. His name is escaping me right now. The Patriots coach,
Mike Vrabel.
Mike Vrabel. He's done an amazing job turning that thing around.
Coach of the year
for sure. Kyle could have had it, but they didn't beat the Seahawks. So I just think them being at home, and I think Vrabel, being savvy, not just from his playing career, but since he's been in the league with the Titans. So I'm going to go New England. Close game. I'm going to say New England 27, and San Diego 24.
San Diego. That's Los Angeles to you, man.
Sorry, LA.
It should still be San Diego.
When we whooped their ass in the Super Bowl, they were the San Diego Chargers. Okay, so I'm stuck in the past.
All right, Dre, what do you got?
I'm going to go Patriots are at home. They're jacked. New England football in the postseason is back, and everyone's going to be all lit up for it. I just haven't seen enough from the Chargers to see them upsetting a better team. I think that the Patriots win this game. I don't even know. 24-17. I just think Chargers they're just gonna be kind of lackluster and just kind of like, well. So yeah, I'm just gonna go Patriots.
All right, let's do again.
Where it's one of those games where it's like at halftime, the Patriots lead the Chargers 17-3. You're watching the NFL on CBS. You know, it's like, oh, wow. What a snooze fest this is.
Yeah, giving Trico and Collinsworth that game instead of the Bills and Jaguars or even San Francisco and Philadelphia team is a mistake. But
man,
no,
I
here's a
really
guy.
love what I'm seeing out of Drake May. This guy's just,
You know who he reminds me of?
he's just a
Patrick
competitor.
Mahomes.
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay, let's get to Monday Night Football prime time. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman out there calling games for ESPN, I think. We have Texans in Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I think this game is going to be a bloodbath. I think the Texans are going to win 23-3.
Amazing.
Aaron Rodgers is done.
Yeah, oh my God. Yep.
Yeah, I think it's
I feel the exact same way.
Yeah.
I don't think they barely scratched the surface in points. I'm going to be a little bit more I'm going to be more giving. I'm going to say oh my God, my brain just went into
malfunctioned.
Who's playing again?
My God. Texans and Pittsburgh Steelers.
Texans and
Come on,
Steelers.
Aaron.
Texans have a really good defense.
The Miami Dolphins are playing, actually.
We saw that early in the year. They have a really good defense.
Tua.
I'm gonna go 31-10. Oh, I'm still recovering from being called.
What was the score?
Oh, 31-10.
Jesus.
I'm recovering being called Judas. Man called me Judas.
CJ Stroud just goes off in this game. I'm taking Texans because I don't think Aaron Rodgers' old ass is going to survive against Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson and that defense. I see Texans winning this game 20-10.
Okay. And let's get to the game we're all waiting for.
Guy with chip though. I think he might die on the field.
Sunday, 1:30, January 11th. At
With
the
the
link.
flag, you know.
Running out of the tunnel, just poof, spontaneous combustion to dust.
Turns to dust. Yep.
We have Niners in Philadelphia. Aaron, I'll give you the honors first. Niners, Philadelphia. Who wins and what's the final score?
I'll be honest. I don't care. Call me Judas. I'm going to go Eagles 31, 49ers 23. I just think the Eagles
23. So it's a one-score game.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are I think the Niners defense is going to betray them when they need them.
So they're Judas.
Whatever. Yeah, sure. They're Judas. I ain't Judas. I just think, listen, if you want,
Brock Purdy be Jesus so and resurrect them from the grave.
Okay. We're not going there.
I listen. No, I just the Niners have gave it their all season, and I really, really, really want to go and be pro Niners. But I'm being honest. I hope to God that I'm wrong. Please, I just think the Niners, they run out of bullets, and they've done it. They've done for, like you guys have said, for what they've been this year and all the injuries and the drama with Ayuk and all that stuff. If they run out of bullets in this game and they lose by one score, it's totally feasible if that happens. And just like it's feasible that they can squeak out a win. But I think it ends for the 49ers this year in Philly, 31-23. Sorry.
Okay.
Call me
Dre,
Judas.
what do you think?
I had a chance to be an optimist. I'm sorry.
You blew it.
I am taking the San Francisco 49ers, and they're going to win this game by a final score of 33-24. San Francisco gets the win.
Papa J, 40-0.
That's a lot of points, man.
I'm telling you right now, this defense is not as good as you guys are making them out to be. They're not that good. And when they're going against a high-powered offense like San Francisco had one bad week against Seattle. Before that, we were like, we're going to kill Seattle. They can't. Even the analysts were like, they can't stop the Niners offense. They completely stopped the Niners offense. Is Philly going to do the same thing? No. I think they'll be competitive early on, but the Niners will be victorious in this game. They will knock off the Eagles at the Lincoln Financial Center. That's what this should be called.
At the link.
And they'll be moving on to face the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle.
I am now caught in a rock and a hard place. Do I go Dre, and do I be more optimistic, or do I go with Aaron? And follow what my heart probably tells me to do and pick Philadelphia.
If the Eagles hadn't won the Super Bowl last year, would you really be saying that that the Niners are gonna go in there and just get curb stomped and just destroyed? No.
Can I hedge my bets and say if Ricky Pearsall plays?
Oh, I mean, look, obviously Pearsall and Trent have to play in order for them to win this game. If
Trent's playing, I'm pretty sure of that.
If it's
but
Bourne and Jennings, it's going to be tough.
Okay. I will say I think the 49ers are going to lose this game. I really do.
Oh, my God.
Lori said, don't do it.
I really do. And it's not because I think
Lori.
they can't win. I'm trying to do my reverse psychology and take their side.
Judas.
I don't know. Like,
where's Bebop when I need him? Come on.
Jeez.
Look, I don't think Philadelphia is as scary as a lot of people think they are. I think Philadelphia has, at least offensively, they don't have the energy. They don't have all of the what needs to be done. Like, they're not going to, if
Lori,
they beat San Francisco.
I agree with you, Lori. I agree.
If Philadelphia wins this game, they're not going to beat the next team. I'm being bullied back into submission to pick the Niners.
I'm just saying, dude.
I'll say this. If Pearsall plays, I think San Francisco wins 26-24. I'll give him a 2-point victory. If Pearsall doesn't play, I think San Francisco loses 26-17.
Here, I'm sharing the screen.
Okay.
Jeez.
Even the NFL Network's analysts were split on this. And whatever D or
Sorry,
G
I should have
Gordon,
brought Mike into the stream, and then we could have.
Whatever G Gordon is smoking, I want to do that as well. 31-7 Niners. That would be a dream.
Crazy. That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I can feel my subscriber count going down by the minute, by the way. Man. Yeah, I don't know.
Take that away from you.
Look, I don't know. I just feel like the Niners, for as good as they've been, and look, you guys know I've been pretty optimistic for most of the year and been saying buy in, or at least believe how far they can go. And I still believe they can go far. Like, I think, like Aaron as well, like I'll be on my couch rooting, crying, screaming, being like, oh my God, all this stuff. And I would so want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I think Aaron wants to be wrong too. Dre wants to be right, obviously.
Always.
I don't know. I just have.
Can I keep my hat on?
If the Niners, never mind. I'm not going to say what I was going to say.
No, go ahead.
I just think that San Francisco, for as good as they can be, like not to say I need them to prove it to me, but this is a game where it's like, man, Jesus, Papa J.
I know. That's a hot topic right now, Papa J.
Jesus,
I don't even
man.
know if we want to go there.
That'll get views on YouTube. I'll tell you that. My
Sterling's
God.
downfall.
The engagement.
God. I don't know. I want to say San Francisco's going to win, but I just feel in my heart of heart that this is where the buck ends. And I think if Pearsall plays, they're going to win, though. And that's a big if for me. But that's kind of where I'm putting my flag. Like, Pearsall, to me, makes that big of a difference against Cooper DeJean, against Adoree Jackson, against that Philadelphia defense. But who knows? I am 1,000% willing, hoping to eat some crow the next time we talk, because sometimes crow tastes really good. Yep. And if it tastes really good, it usually means San Francisco proved you wrong. And I believe in Kyle and I believe in Purdy and all that stuff. But you're playing Philadelphia, who isn't great, at the link on the road in front of that home crowd, without a lot of your dogs. And that to me is concerning. I don't know. I just feel like that this game will be 23-17, 20-17, 26-17. It's going to be close, a one-score game. But it just feels like at some point, the hourglass runs out right on this team. And I want to get Fred back. I want to get all the guys back and run it all back together. But it just feels like we all know they're not good enough to go all the way. We know that. So is it like you're just delaying the inevitable? And
so
maybe
you want them to lose? What? Come on.
No, I don't want them to. I'm just saying they're either going to lose this game, the next game, or the next game.
If the Niners beat the Eagles, and let's say they beat the Seahawks the following week, they're going to win the Super Bowl. There's no doubt about it.
I'd agree with that because they're probably playing the Rams then at that point.
They're, to me, the dark horse team in the AFC is the Denver Broncos. And the reason why...
No, it's the Houston Texans, man.
No. Denver, because they have
The
the number
Jaguars.
one of the Jaguars have number one defense, but
I had to be
the
different.
Broncos
Sorry.
defense is really, really good. And they're
Yeah.
also the number 2 ranked third down defense in the league. And when you disrupt offenses the way that these defenses can, it makes a huge difference. So that's me.
It's going to be close. Niners.
But wouldn't that be
What?
something if the Niners got to the Super Bowl and went against the Denver Broncos?
Be fun.
The return of Dre
Hufanga,
Greenlaw, Hufanga.
DJ Jones. Yeah.
That'd be crazy. Be like,
Be fun.
whoa.
Can I just say something to be serious? Like,
No.
Man, we probably,
No.
probably lose that game too.
no, because I think it's funny because it's like, you could attack somebody for having a different opinion than you, and you can call me all sorts of names, curse me out or whatever. But
Judas.
I've been consistent all season
It's
with
true.
how I felt about this team,
Yeah, this is
and I
nothing
have
new.
not wavered. So if I pick us to win, y'all know I'm fake. You'd be like, oh, he's just saying that because he's trying to make himself look good after being verbally assaulted by whatever his name is. That's how much-
Bebop.
I just refuse to do that. In my heart, I don't believe that they're. There was a thing on 95.7 the game. I forget who it was. It was the day after the game, and he literally said, he goes, the Niners were never the 1 seed. Like, them losing that game.
What was it,
Like,
Joe
we-
Shasky?
No,
I think it was Mark Willard.
Mark Willard said it. We were never the 1 seed, and
No.
I never truly believed in my heart that we would. I even said it to you guys. Would you rather us be the 1 seed, get home field advantage, and lose and be like, wow, they were the 1 seeded lost, or go down the path that we're on right now, which is there's really no expectation, and if we do win, it's like, okay, like this path that we're on and about to experience on Sunday was pretty much the path that I thought we were going to be on. So,
Oh no.
so I'm a fakeful. Here we go. Pterodome's attacking me too.
As
Jeez.
he was trying to
Love it,
transition
love it.
out. Man.
Oh man, he tried to be so positive. Like, can we all just get along? And they said no.
Pterodome just hit him across the jaw like Joshua hit Paul.
You're sending me to. I'm already in therapy, Papa J, but thanks.
Oh
Wow.
my god. Oh my god. That was great. That was great. Okay. I think the Niners on Sunday have every reason to believe in themselves. We believe in them, maybe in lesser degrees than others. Dre believes in them a lot as well. But
I
think
believe in 11 being alive more, though. I believe.
Look, if we got the number
she
one
did,
seed,
brother. She did.
hey, if we got the number 1 seed, I wouldn't have seen it like, what, we're the number 1 seed. I would have looked at it like, dude, we fucking just stole the number 1 seed. That's awesome.
True.
Let's see how far we can
True.
take this, and that's
It's
really
true.
it.
True. No, I
This
agree
is
with
not
that.
Major League Baseball.
No.
Baseball, if you get hot and your pitching staff is pitching well, or is hitting really well, you can ride that all the way to a World Series. And
Yep.
football, it's a little different because there's too many different elements and
Yeah.
different configurations. of the game.
Usually most talent wins. Obviously,
Yes.
that can differ, and there are outliers in that. But that's the big thing. And this is kind of where I'm at now. Like, can San Francisco be the outlier? Can they be the 1% that says we aren't the best team, but we are the best coach team? And in this game, we can be the best team on
Can
Sunday.
they be the Indiana Pacers of last season and just
Wow.
run the table?
Wow. I mean, really, can they be the San Francisco 49ers of 2021 and go into Dallas and win, and go into Green Bay and win? Now, those teams are a lot better, obviously, than this one was, but, to kind of end, they have the better head coach, the better quarterback, and that's kind of it. But sometimes it's all that matters. And you got to hope that that's the case on Sunday when San Francisco travels to Philadelphia, the link, as Dre put it, and tries to do the impossible and the improbable and upset the Philadelphia Eagles at home for San Francisco on the road, maybe with that Ricky Pearsall, but likely having Trent Williams back. That's all we have for you today, though, as we await Sunday, 1:30 Pacific Standard Time. I'm nervous. I'm sure we're all nervous. I'm sure we're all going to be waking up on Sunday morning with the sweats saying, oh my God, it's the day. Let's see what happens, because anything is possible. Kevin Durant, anything is possible. And I think San Francisco can at least
Kevin
make
Garnett,
things interesting.
Actually. Kevin
Sorry,
Garnett.
Kevin Garnett. Don't be like Kevin Durant, dance in the hallway and tear your Achilles in the middle of the game. Don't do that. Please don't do that. But look, anything's possible. Kevin Garnett, thank you, Dre. And we'll see. It's all a waiting game. San Francisco has a chance. It's all that matters. You've played all season. Records are 0-0 now. Nothing that happened in the last 18 weeks matters. It's what happens on Sunday. And I think San Francisco has a chance, and we'll see what transpires. But for Dre, for Aaron, this has been the Cover 3 podcast. My name is Sterling Bennett. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy some football on Saturday, and obviously San Francisco football on Sunday. Thank you to everyone in the chat. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. For the love of God, please don't unsubscribe from this channel because I picked the Philadelphia Eagles to win. But again, prove me and Aaron wrong, and let's eat some crow the next time we talk, because I'm not done. We're not done talking San Francisco 49ers in 2025 and 2026. With that said, this is the Cover 3 podcast. And as always, until next time, stay faithful.